Hello everyone, my name is Masterstarman, and wow, another year is kind of come and gone. It feels like I should be used to saying this by now, but it always does manage to impress me as often as the years go by and I get to make more and more videos like these. 2023 was a very strange year for me personally. I wouldn't say it was a great year for my personal life, but I can't lie, it was honestly a pretty damn great year for gaming. There were many great games that came out this year on many different platforms, and so for my last video of 2023, I decided to make a video ranking every game I've played and finished this year. Some things to note before I start. One, I tend to mostly play a lot of Nintendo stuff. It's not that I have anything against games on the other systems, it's just what I tend to play the most, and I also don't have a Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, so yeah, I kind of have to stick with what I know. 2, this list does include games that released in other years besides just 2023. This is just a personal ranking of games I've played this year, not a best of 2023 specifically. Although, if I can say anything, I'm actually surprised by the number of titles that did top my list releasing this year. Number 3, if it is a game I have played before, I will only be including it on this list if it got a proper new version of the game and not just me replaying something I've played before. For example, I replayed Kirby 64 a number of times this year, and obviously that's not going to make the list because it's a game I've played a whole bunch before. But I will be including games that have gotten new ports or remasters, such as, say, Pikmin or Kirby's Return to Dreamland, because those games did get new remasters this year. And perhaps most importantly, this list is my own opinion. If you disagree with this, which you probably will, that's okay. This is my own personal list, my own personal feelings, and I wanted to make a video on this because I had a lot more things to say about a lot of these games than I could fit into simple tweets, so with all that out of the way, here's to a list of my favorite games that I have played and finished this year. There are 16 games here, and I swear I'm not trying to make enemies with this one. I'm sure Sonic Superstars is a great game. I am sure this is a great game. I remember initially being kind of excited for this game, but that excitement kind of quickly turned to ambivalence when I saw this game had a full price tag, and I was turned off by that. But that's actually not why this game is at the bottom of my list. I don't personally own this game, but my friend Morgan does, and I asked him on launch if he'd be interested in playing this game multiplayer. You can see where this is going. Yeah. I played Sonic Superstars with my friends Morgan and Darren, the same folks who joined me for the Mario Kart 8 Let's Play, and yeah, no. This game is a train wreck in multiplayer. I'll say this, it is a hilarious experience, but as far as being a quality game, I'm sorry to say this game does not have the polish to be a great game. The only other thing I can say other than just camera unfocus and people running ahead and not giving a chance to explore, the only other thing I really can say is that we were stuck on the final boss of the vanilla story for like over an hour, and yeah, no. Hearing that this game had not one but 2 harder and more BS final bosses from other modes is just, yeah, no, I can't fathom that thought. I've heard some people say the final boss of the new character Trip story is terrible. I couldn't count the amount of BS I experienced just in the vanilla final boss, which people say isn't even that bad by comparison. Yeah, I am sure this is a great game. I am sure this is a very great single-player game, but as far as being a multiplayer, 4-player 2D platformer, there are 2 games further on this list that do this idea so much better. So much better. Number 15, Mario Party: The Top 100. I can sum this up very, very simply. Just play Superstars instead. No, not that Superstars. I mean, the Mario Party Superstars. No, seriously, just play this game instead. Mario Party Superstars is wonderful and was easily my game of the year of 2021. Top 100, I didn't think this idea was bad at the time. I was always sort of interested in this game, but I never really got around to getting it until this year when it was really cheap and discounted, and I'm glad I experienced it, but I was really shocked how little this game had to offer. It is just Minigame Island, a mode that I actually wish was in Superstars looking back, but I got nothing else to say about this game otherwise. Although, you won't get me hating Hotel Goomba, my beloved Hotel Goomba. This minigame is so good, and it did not deserve being left out of Superstars ND Cube! Number 14. This is a weird one to include here because I actually really loved this game. Pikmin 1 is one of those games I always enjoy going back to every now and again, and I normally don't like including games I've played a million times before in these kinds of lists, but, well, this game does have a new Switch port, and therefore I think it does actually qualify for this list. The port itself, it's alright. I do love this game, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it. I'm glad it's cheap, and I'm glad you can get it in a double pack like with Pikmin 2. But, yeah, the biggest thing for me is that I just wish the controls felt more like the Wii. I got used to the new control scheme, but as far as this game, I really don't have anything else to say about it. It's great if you haven't played it already, though, and what more do I need to say? Number 13. This one will probably surprise some people and probably also annoy those same people. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I know some people will say, wait, why the F is this on here? Yes, this is not a new game. It wasn't even new when it came out in 2017. But, ironically, it's the not new stuff that lands it here because I'd argue the Booster Course Pass brought a lot of new life to this game overall that this game desperately needed. I won't waste much time here. I've talked a lot about this game before. I think the DLC was a great time though, and if you want my opinion, watch the finale of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe LP and listen to my very long rant about it. I don't think the base Mario Kart 8 is that great, honestly, but bringing in a lot of classic stages back, especially from games like Mario Kart Wii, really did add a lot of new life into this game that I honestly would say I enjoy going back to now a lot more than I did before. Number 12. Honestly, from here on out, we have some really great games to talk about, and this next game is no surprise. I know a lot of people who'd probably rank this game a lot higher, but it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'm not trying to shock people placing this one in Sonic so low. I actually really do like this game. It just had some faults that I couldn't really ignore, and maybe some minor stuff that was kind of dumb overall. I think there's a lot of really great charming aspects though. I do love the talking flowers, the new power-ups are really fun, the Wonder Flower is a unique feature that does like to spice the gameplay up every now and again, but I found the approach to the levels to be a little dartboard, although I guess it's not really so much an issue, it's just more so you would play a really cool level and then that idea would only be used once or twice. But ultimately, what lands this game so low on the list is, for me, I'm just surprised how soon this game ended. I felt like the core worlds went on long enough, but by the time I finished the final boss and the final world and ending, I went, wait, that was seriously it? It kind of feels anticlimactic for me. I also do wish some other minor stuff like a rebalance to the badge system, which, by the way, I actually really do like the badge system a lot. I genuinely did like experimenting and using different badges throughout the levels, but I wish the game would let you equip multiple badges. I'm aware the whole game would probably have to be changed and rebalanced to accommodate such a feature, but I really hope for whenever the next 2D Mario game is, whenever that'll be, bring this system back, but let me equip a passive skill like the radar as well as one that would enhance my jump, and I don't know, I almost feel like that would, yes, break the game, but in a way, I kind of wouldn't mind that sort of experimentation. It's little things like this that maybe with future playthroughs I'd grow to start to see some things in Mario Wonder that I didn't see the first time, because, yeah, the game is generally really great by itself. It's just little things like that. And also, I wish this game let you have more than one save file. That's just dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. It's the year 2023, and games from 1991 let you do this better. Nintendo, why? Number 11. And now time for the most WTF game to include on this list, because Adventure of a Lifetime isn't a game. This is a visual novel, a story, and it's not really so much a game you play through. It's a story you experience. However, I did really enjoy this when I played this earlier this year. A story about a boy, a blonde girl, an old friend, and even a dolphin, and a few other quirky characters as they live through life experiences. It's a really, really touching story that has a lot of great moments. It really does have it all, and it's something that I'm really glad I got to experience. It's just not higher because I don't really know how you can rank something like this. In fact, I originally had Mario Wonder placed ahead of this, but when I think back to thinking that I enjoyed this more, it's difficult to rank, you know? One's a game, one's a story that I just kind of sit through and experience. However, I do need to mention this. This has some stellar music. I think that this is worthy of this placement and worthy of a purchase just for the soundtrack alone. In fact, you can buy the soundtrack by itself, and it is worth that as well. It knows how to rock out, it knows how to be chill, it knows how to be ambient, it knows how to be very tense, it knows how to be beautiful. It is a wonderful, wonderful listen. Number 10. We're finally in the top 10 this year, and say hello to the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. Persona 5 Tactica is a new adventure placing them in another new world with some new characters. Persona 5 Tactica is, probably to my shock, the most straightforward of any of the Persona 5 series, and in some ways I almost wish this game was meatier. It's a full-price game, but it is way more straightforward than games like Persona 5 Royal and even Persona 5 Strikers. It feels more streamlined for what that's worth. It's a tactics game, but with more of a visual novel pizzazz to it, and while I honestly love the art style and that the game has voice acting for most of the major moments, I'm still kind of shocked just how simplified everything felt with this. The main battles are fought in a tactics setting, which I think works well for this style of game. It offers a unique slice on the bringing tactics into the Persona feel, but even while on normal, I thought this game was really, really easy for the most part. Until I did the side quests and thought those were really, really difficult. Like, early on, side quests are harder than some of the endgame missions, and they honestly kicked my ass. But it wasn't until I got to the endgame where I realized that the side quests started to get a lot easier, and I don't know, I've never had so much whiplash from a game like that. But kudos to Toshiro Kasukabe, one of many Chad characters in this franchise, as well as Arena. You know, for a game that's telling their story, I think this is generally a really good game. It doesn't really involve the Phantom Thieves, so to speak. They almost just kind of feel there for a bit, but you know what? I think this is still a very welcome addition to the Persona 5 camp. Maybe wait for a sale on it if you have to, but it's good. It is a great game. Side note, yes, I have the DLC. No, I have not finished it, but it's a catchy Insumi, and that is more than enough for me to at least mention this. I love this trio. I just... catchy, man. Number 9. And it's time for the other big tactics game I played this year. And what an effing year it is that Advance Wars came back. In all seriousness, I was really excited at E3 2021. E3, rest in peace.
Advance Wars? What? Oh my god! What year is it?
And to be honest, I'm still kind of shocked that this could even release at all, given various IRL circumstances. But it's here finally, and yeah, it's Advance Wars 1 and 2, the latter of which I actually never played before this, but I'm glad I finally got to give it a chance this year. I'm honestly just glad this game is back at all, and for a new generation of folks to experience it. I like seeing underrated Nintendo franchises get some sort of second love, and I never really thought we'd see this game back again like this. And as for the game itself, it's as fun and charming as I remember playing this back in the day. It's also hilarious that Ash Ketchum's original voice actor, Veronica Taylor, voices Andy, and it just works.
Awesome! What's an airport again?
But I did start to feel a little fatigued by the end of Advance Wars 2, and while I didn't really do too many of the War Room maps, this is one game I could still see myself wanting to return to thanks to the side content. Really, if you like tactics games and you haven't played Advance Wars, I do very much recommend this one. It's a little different from what most people would say, but it is still a game that I do very much recommend the experience of. Number 8. I'm sure I'll return to this one down the line for another playthrough or two, but until then, I'm really glad I got to experience Final Fantasy IV this year. I got the Pixel remasters this past year and decided to make 4 the first one I tried out of these classic games, and I'm glad I got to experience this. I can see why it's a classic for so many people, and for the most part, I do think this game holds up really well. Some characters kind of miss the mark. I don't really care too much for characters that aren't really part of the main cast, but yeah, at its core, this is a great game, and one that I'm glad got me back in a bit of a Final Fantasy kick. I honestly want to return to this franchise again next year and experience some more of these games, and I honestly want to make more videos and streams of this series, but time will tell on that one. Until then, though, I'm really glad I got a chance to play this one. It's definitely a classic for a reason, and I could see myself wanting to replay this one. Continuing down the list of classic RPGs, here's another one that I'm glad I got to experience this year. Persona 3 Portable. Now, I'm not an expert to judge all the different versions of this game. I would be here all day if I was trying to compare that sort of thing. I'm just judging this by the base story and what I experienced as a newcomer to these games. And I gotta say, I still think Persona 3 is really good. A little antiquated in places, sure, but something feels oddly comforting climbing hundreds of floors in a tower only to find out the Reaper is summoned on your first visit to Tartarus and nearly kills me. Yeah, that left me kinda shocked, but in all seriousness, this was a great game overall, and one that I'm really glad I got to experience. I will be playing Reload when that launches next year, and I am really curious to see how well it'll rank when I do this again next year, but until then, to the folks in C's, you did really good this time. Number 6. In addition to finally getting a return to Advance Wars, Nintendo finally gave the deep cut crowd another return to one of their more niche IPs, and maybe after this it may or may not be niche, because we have Pikmin 4. This was another game I was excited about, although maybe not to quite to the same degree of others, but still, when it came time for it, I thought they did a really great job with this game. As a nostalgic throwback to earlier Pikmin games, particularly Pikmin 2, I was really nostalgic about just about everything in this game, having a lot of old enemies back, ones that weren't even in 3, and with modern mechanics. God, I was so at home with this game. Getting to see a lot of old familiar faces left a smile on me, and sometimes getting a scare on my face. I see you there in Gulf Castle, you're not frightening me this time. Getting to swarm a man at legs with winged Pikmin, yeah, get wrecked, asshole. Now, honestly, this game felt really great, but I wasn't as big on some of the other side elements. I didn't really like how the game was designed for using only a few Pikmin per particular area, and with the game telling me what Pikmin to bring to certain areas, I didn't really see a reason to experiment with the other varieties, and I feel torn by that. I wasn't too crazy on a lot of the side activities. The night missions kind of just glorified tower defense. The Dandori stuff, I kind of wish the battles would have just been kept to the multiplayer, but I did like the Dandori challenges. This game's whole cast, though, as well, I may need to play this again sometime, but I really didn't click with that many of the new characters this time around, and it wasn't really until Almar and Louis showed up in the story that I started to become invested again, and that does leave me very conflicted as a whole. But it's not enough for me to dislike what's otherwise fantastic. The quality of this far outweighs those gripes, and this is a keeper and one of Nintendo's best titles this year. Not quite enough to make my top 5, but it is still a great game. Great game. Number 5, the Phantom Thieves are back once again, and this time they're taking down hundreds of baddies at once in flashy-ass combat. It's Persona 5 Strikers time. I'm aware this game has a bit of a reputation, and even I don't think it's as good as Royal is. Not even close, really, but I enjoyed this game a lot, and I think its high points really do outweigh its few flaws. While the story is a little bit confusing, probably the most confusing of the Persona 5 type games, I feel like this is the game that I got to really feel attached and enjoy the Phantom Thieves of Hearts as they go on an epic summer road trip to stop a catastrophe all over Japan. It's an experience. It's definitely an experience, and with themes of artificial intelligence feeling as prevalent in our ever-changing society, yeah, I think this game actually still does hit pretty hard and topical even now. I think this game also just has some really, really great characters, including newcomers like Sophie and Zenkichi, not to mention getting to actually play as and control the Phantom Thieves. Yeah, this is a great time. Maybe get it on Steam rather than the Switch. It was playable, but I could see this benefiting from a higher frame rate and resolution. But that being said, though, considering this was my very first Muso game, I still had a blast with this one, and it's something I could very much recommend you check out if you like Persona 5. Although, I do think you should play that first, though, because this spoils that story very heavily. It's still a great game, though. Still a great game with so many great moments throughout.
Feast your eyes on the splendor that is the classic movie poster pose! Hentai!
I think you've gotten it all wrong.
Number 4. Yeah, I know what you're all thinking. How dare I place everybody's Game of the Year at only number 4 on this list? Look, Tears of the Kingdom. I have words to say about this game, but it is great. It has great production values, and unlike Breath of the Wild, I actually was generally interested in this story. I enjoyed the gameplay. This is just a me thing saying this. Open world games aren't usually my thing. Unless it's a sandbox platformer where I can explore locales at my own pace, I don't really get a whole lot from just exploring random open worlds very much. So, a game like Tears of the Kingdom is definitely a tough sell for me, and I also feel very turned off whenever I started this game because of the difficulty. And it's not even necessarily that I find this game hard, but enemies will kick your ass. Health upgrades don't really mean much when armor and food and so many other things all take into an effect. And I know a lot of people who really love this style of game, but it's just not really my cup of tea overall. I would still sooner play some of the earlier Zelda games. But was I too hard on this game before? Yeah, I probably was. Do I think this was the hypest big final thing from 4 separate Nintendo Directs? I don't think so. I honestly got more excited and even cried at more reveals like Banjo-Kazooie's Smash trailer, the Mario Party Superstars reveal, and my actual Game of the Year this year, but I'm glad I got to finish this game too. I was initially put off by the difficulty of Ganondorf, but I'm glad I got to experience this fight to the end. It's a great game. It's just for me personally, there are games I like more than this. Hey, remember what I said earlier in this video, how there were 2 different multiplayer platform titles that I thought did their job better than Sonic Superstars? Well, enter Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Wait, the 2011 game that I initially popped off for back when it was unveiled all those years ago? Yes, I was very excited for this game when it was unveiled at that year's E3, so much so that I wanted to LP it with friends even back then, and that did not happen. So here, enjoy these art assets from back in those days. But yet in spite of that, as someone who is a longtime Kirby fan, this game seemed to slip the minds of a lot of people I knew, and I think that's a damn shame, because this game is a complete return to form with the old Superstar mechanics being brought back and refined. This game has great new copy abilities, the super abilities that annihilate enemies on screen, the introduction of Water Kirby into the mainline games after appearing in the anime a few years prior, a freaking Super Saiyan boss fight, the first new console Kirby since Kirby 64, 11 years prior. I love you, Kirby's Epic Yarn, but you get what I mean. Yeah, as someone who was already a massive Kirby nut back in 2011, I absolutely loved this game. Of course, hearing news that it got a Switch port, I was going to be excited just to see it back. Even if it didn't do anything new, I knew they were still going to deliver the goods and that I was still going to enjoy this. But oh, it did something new, alright. Oh my god, this game did not have to go as hard with the new True Arena. Now yes, you have to play this whole game twice and the new Magalore epilogue to unlock this. But it is so worth it. When you get to the end and face Magalore's soul, this behemoth of a boss fight just... I can't stop gushing about this fight. Damn, this is amazing. At its core, Kirby's Return to Dreamland is a phenomenal platformer. Yes, it's a little simple and safe, but god, this looks, sounds, and just plays phenomenally. I am biased. Yes, I am a big Kirby fan. I'm a bigger Kirby fan than I am Zelda. But if you're at all interested in platformers, this is the game to play this year. They took what was already one of my favorite platformers from the Wii and honestly made it better in so many ways. Just the new additions alone were enough to wow and impress me, and yeah, that says a lot for a game I've been playing for close to 12 years now. I feel old. I feel so old. Number 2. I am surprised this game came out at all, but yeah, Super Mario RPG is honestly perhaps one of the greatest comfort games I've ever played. No joke. I used to play this game a lot back when I was younger, but I haven't played this since my original LP ended, way back in 2013, a whole 10 years ago, and I felt right back at home coming back to it after all these years. The wonderful soundtrack by Yoko Shimomura and the gorgeous new visuals, everything was as comfy and beautiful as the day I had stopped playing this game. That is truly the mark of an amazing video game. I really don't have anything else to say. It is simpler and more lighthearted than other RPGs, but the charm of this game is really undeniable. If it was any other year, I think this would have been my game of the year. But second place is still really, really wonderful. It is a game that, if you're looking for a Mario game to play this year, I would seriously say play this one. I don't need to say a whole lot more other than, oh my god, another amazing post-game boss! Yes, this was peak right here. If you have not played this game or experienced this, play this game. I would say it is worth it just to experience this new post-game battle alone. Number 1. If you knew me, you know very well what to expect from my number 1, but Metroid Prime is one of those rare video games that it is so good. I don't have the words to describe how amazing this game is. This is one of my top 5 favorite video games of all time, and for many, many years, it has still held that position. When we got word that a remaster was announced back in February, I could not get over the visual upgrade. And especially that this was shadow dropped on the eShop that same exact day.
What the
Whoa.
Oh man, this news
I might
is like
even just double dip
immediately
because I
after.
want to play that.
Yeah, that was it. That was all I needed. And I was amazed at the reception that this game got. From landing on Talon Overworld with that amazing opening music, all the way till the credits roll, this is still one of those games that is so phenomenal from start to finish. It is so good. I played this game a whopping 4 times this year alone. I think it's a miracle considering all the crazy crap that happened with Prime's development cycle all the way back in 2002. And especially considering it's still one of the greatest games, landmark titles over the last 20 years, I think just shows how incredible this truly is. From its gorgeous visual upgrade and stellar 60 FPS performance, memorable and incredible soundtrack, and the ambience that just sucks you all in and keeps you coming back for more, the satisfying as hell combat, the intuitive scanning lore. This really is just a truly phenomenal, phenomenal game. And if this is even just a taste of what Prime 4 is cooking, I think we're in really, really good hands. If only we can get Prime 2 and Prime 3 remasters in the meantime, but yeah. Until then, I've been Masterstarman, and Metroid Prime Remastered is easily my game of the year this year. Here's to 2024, and I'll see you then.